Hi everyone, welcome back. I apologize for yesterday's video. For some unexplainable reason, I could not save my videos for download. I have been battling for a few days and had to save a previous video on a very low resolution. So I spent a large portion of yesterday cleaning up my laptop and backing up my work. The laptop is, however, still very slow. Okay, so as it is the weekend, I'm going to be talking about a variety of things. Yes, my friends, I sincerely need a break from the royals. They and the whole sick, crazy scenario is becoming highly frustrating and not good for my own mental health. I received numerous questions about Harry's 3-day visit to Mozambique, and quite honestly, I just do not care. He can stay there for all I care. There are posts of people who were asked to change their seats in the first class section of a commercial airline, and others posting a picture of a private plane on the tarmac as proof that Harry has not left Mozambique. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? From what I heard, he was there to one represent travelers in some tourism indaba or meeting or blah blah blah, and to host a group of United States politicians, likely a paid gig or appearance for him. As you know, Harry has now become the entertainer, or shall we rather say the class clown. Anyway, from a guy who had a butler to one who had become a butler. Who cares? So, the only other thing one can say about that is that apparently Harry only arrived with one bodyguard. So, unless the Mozambique government provided additional security, I guess he is not as afraid for his life as he claims to be. Anyway, we read that Lady Louise will soon be moving to the same university William and Catherine attended. As from September, she will be attending St. Andrews University to study English. William is off to the United States, New York to be exact, to attend the Earthshot Prize Innovation Summit. Now, next year, I'm going to enter my grandson with an absolute novel idea, a plan for the royal family climate change warriors to fly less and use Zoom instead. I am absolutely convinced that my grandson will win. Okay, that was a bit of sarcasm, but you know me. I believe in cleaning in front of my own doorstep before telling others what to do. Okay, I'm told that Harry's memoir is going to be about 80% of what we expect. The usual old stories most of us already know, but that there will be about 10% new information and, very importantly, another 10% which will be truly shocking. I'm told that it will be very hurtful to Prince Charles and to a degree to William. From what I'm told, some of these clangers will definitely damage the royal family's reputation. According to the person who sent me the email, Harry will express his feelings about certain events more than he will address the actual finer details of the events. The person did not give his or her name or say how they know this, so I can only tell you this because I think they, whether it's he or she, is most likely correct, even if it is not 100% fact, but rather their assumption. Anyway, my dears, we'll continue the royal family saga next week. As you know, I sent out a few emails day before yesterday, one to the Harkles themselves, one to the British ambassador in the United States, one to California Senator Dianne Feinstein, and one to the Express newspaper. I have not heard back from Moringer's agent, and I'm not holding my breath waiting to hear back from any of these other people either. Like I said in a previous video, I'm at a point where if the majority of the British people are happy with a semi-feudal system instead of a constitutional monarchy, then so be it. I do not live in Britain and can easily ignore the abuse of power and titles if I want to. I'm not worried about the American people either because I understand the American dynamic. Like South Africa, they had to fight for their independence and they fought to reach a place where they were eventually deemed a world superpower. So I know things are a bit askew and difficult in the United States at the moment, but I know that the average American will only allow things to go to a certain level before they start fighting back. And I therefore know that America will bounce back from whatever difficulties they are experiencing at the moment. It is the nature of the beast. It is the nature of the American people as it is the nature of the South African people. Anyway, talking about the United States, what is happening with all these disappearances, all these mysterious disappearances of people who are just not ever found again? As you know, I'm sort of addicted to true crime videos, and that is my way of relaxing at night. Do not watch television, so I watch all these true crime channels instead. I watch Harsh Reality, Michelle After Dark, Grizzly True Crime, who's also South African, Plunder, whom I stopped watching during the Morphew case, but I'm back watching her now with the Kaylee Rodney case, on which she is doing an absolutely fantastic job. And who else? I watch Don B and Crime Talk and a number of others. Now, I was heavily invested in the Suzanne Morphew case months ago and followed every channel who had something on her and did so daily. Suzanne disappeared from her home near Salida, and Suzanne's bike was found on the day she disappeared, etc., etc. But to date, there's absolutely no trace of Suzanne or her remains, etc. Her husband Barry was charged with first-degree murder, but from day one, I said that the prosecutors were not ready to go to trial and that the DA had jumped the gun. I had many channel creators very angry at me for my opinion, and some even told me I was in love with Barry. Anyway, that was so funny. However, I was at least glad to see that attorney Scott Reich of Crime Talk was of the same opinion, and as some of you may know, the charges against Barry Morphew was dismissed with prejudice, just like I said it would be, and just like, let's give him credit for it, Scott Reich of Crime Talk said it would be. At the time, prosecutors and the police said they were close to finding Suzanne's body, but I said it was all nonsense. They just said that to hide their embarrassment. And once again, it appears I was right. There is still no sign of Suzanne Morphew. Then, since last year, I have been checking my phone every morning and every night to see whether little Summer Wells or Michael Monkey Vaughan had been found. Summer was 5 at the time she disappeared from her home at 110 Ben Hill Road in the Beach Creek community in Hawkins County, Tennessee, in June last year. And Michael, who was also 5 at the time of his disappearance from his home in Fruitland. And Michael disappeared almost a month after Summer. Neither of them had been found now more than a year later, and it appears that the police have no clue what happened to them. Then there is the Dylan Rounds case. Dylan Rounds, who disappeared from his farm. He was 19 at the time of his disappearance. Dylan had turned 20 since he disappeared on May 28th this year, like I said, from his farm in Lucerne, Utah. Dylan had now been missing nearly 4 months, I think, and despite air and ground searches and multiple warrants being executed, he had still not been found. And now I am checking out on a daily basis the case of 16-year-old Kaylee Rodney, who disappeared from a party on the 6th of August at Tahoe National Forest. Now, I'm listening to everybody's ideas and speculation on the case, but I have a completely different idea, and I find that something is just not computing in my brain. But I may pop over on the other channel and do a video on that during the course of the week. Now, I know people have disappeared all over for many, many years. But with the type of technology we have these days, it is hard to understand how anyone can just vanish. Of course, these few are not the only ones who have been disappearing. There are many, many others. There is 16-year-old Kaylee Jones, who disappeared from her home in Georgia on June 15th. Then there is Paula Miranda Rosa, who allegedly disappeared from a state park north of Orlando between the 17th and 18th of December last year. Goodness, guys, it just goes on and on and on. What is happening, folks? Is the United States being invaded by aliens beaming up your citizens? Of course, there are people going missing everywhere else, but we just don't always hear about it. Here in South Africa, people go missing as well, and looking at statistics, the recovery rate is about 20% lower than that in the United States. But to get information on any of our local cases is like pulling teeth of an unwilling crocodile. And very often, such cases barely make it to one column in a small local paper. So maybe that accounts for the 20% less recovery. So maybe South Africans can take a note out of United States book and start making these things a little more public and safeguard us a little more. Anyway, I find these missing cases almost more sad than those of actual murders and other deaths. I cannot imagine what it must be like not to know where your loved one is, not to have that closure, or to be looking for the rest of your life or until they are found, sometimes years later. Anyway, guys, it's the weekend and I'm a little blue this weekend. Don't ask me why. I just am. I may just decide to pick up one of those books I bought from a secondhand store and take to my bed a little. Maybe take an entire day or two away from social media and in particular the royals. Or I may get stuck into my hundreds of email. Who knows? I'll see which direction the wind blows. However, have no fear. I will be back. There is always something to talk about. Okay, guys and girls, so until we meet again on the next video, please take good care of yourself.